What's up, everybody? Happy Thursday evening to you all. I'm Peter Gilmore. This is Killer Old Demon 669! Yeah, bring it down! Thank you all for watching this video. Make sure you like this video. Hit that subscribe button down below, as we're 2/3 of the way now to 200 subscribers, about 164 right now. So thank you all to the new subscribers that just joined. I know my good friend Charlie Wolfkill just joined, and Andy's Truth just joined, so I'll put links down to the channels down in the description box, along with my other channels, likewise, down below. So give them some love and some support, and subscribe. And share this video all over the internet. You know what to do. Alright, so on this Thursday evening, as the title below says, it is time for your late, out of date, so far, so late, haters love to masturbate, TNA Impact Wrestling review for August the 27th, 2014, once again from the Grand Ballroom in New York City. And another good show from TNA from New York. You know, they only got a couple more weeks left. I think they got 2 or 3 more weeks. And then they got the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania shows, which will lead into and past Bound for Glory. You know, it's August 28th now. Shouldn't they be having the Bound for Glory series? Or if they're going to have one at all? I'm just saying. Because if you're going to build up the Bound for Glory, which is always highlighted by the Bound for Glory series, you're going to do it at the Bethlehem, Pennsylvania shows when you only have like maybe 4 weeks to hype up the show? I mean, really? Unless they're doing Wrestle 1 versus TNA, like what New Japan and Ring of Honor did at War of the Worlds, and at Global Wars, you're gonna do that. That could work, but you know, I'm just saying. I don't know who in Wrestle 1 will face the champion by then, but I don't know what TNA's doing. I don't know. I mean, it's the biggest pay-per-view of in the company's history. And you don't have the Bound for Glory series up already? Really? That's bad booking from TNA. Just saying. They should have started, you know, right after Dixie Carter went through a table. They should have started, you know, right at the new tapings. I mean, the August tapings should have been the Hardcore Justice, and then right after that, hype up the Bound for Glory series. Right there. Should have started right there. You know? Or, you know, the first week you have a series of matches. You have 12-man series. 6 get in. Or 8 or whatever. The top 6 get in. And over the next few weeks, those 6 guys battle it out against each other. Or in tag matches and win over the, you know, if you're in a tag match with, like, say, with Mr. Anderson and you get the pin, you get 10 points or something like that. But that's just me. That's just me. That's how I would book it, but I'm not the booker. But anyway, like I said, it was a great show from New York City. It begins with a video package showing the tag team title series, which began last night, and it's going to go on for another 2 or 3 weeks between the American Wolves, the Hardys, and Team 3D. The winner will be known as the best tag team in the world and become the new tag team champions. And you have to get 2 wins to win the titles. So it's going to be exciting to see over the next couple of weeks. We also see the 6 Sides of Steel match, the 6-man 6 Sides of Steel match, number 1 contenders to Lashley's title. We saw the ending where Eric Young and Bobby Roode both won at the same time. You know, climbed down the cage and won at the same time. And we found out that Kurt Angle is going to decide who will be the number 1 contender for Lashley's title. So we see Angle in the balcony with the fans, and he says, as director of operations, it's his job to put on a great show for the fans. And tonight, he says tonight, it would be last night, he did not disappoint. So he announces EC3 and Rhino in a grudge match. You know, Rhino getting beat up last week by EC3 and Rockstar Spud. Hello, love! So they're gonna have that grudge match. Then we're gonna, the first match in the tag title series. It's gonna be the main event. Then he goes on to say that he was gonna congratulate the new #1 contender for Lashley's title, but it was a photo finish last week. Then he says he's gonna talk with Eric Young and Bobby Roode in his office, and he's gonna be fair. And then later on, he's gonna tell the fans who is the #1 contender. So before he continues on, MLK comes out, MVP, Lashley, and Kenny King. So they get in the ring. MVP asks Angle if he can really be fair. Then he says, "Well, I respect you, but I don't respect the fans, these sheep fans." Then he's like, "Hey Kurt, how's the job doing?" And then he mocks his Twitter, something about his Twitter handle, with characters and some crap like that. So then he talks about Bobby Roode and Eric Young and who will face the Destroyer, Lashley, for his title. Then he mocks New York City. He's like, "Hey, yo, this is New York City, yo." The accent of New York. New York! In its accent. Then he mocks the fans, saying they have no class and no dignity. Then he makes a New York City NYPD joke about chokeholds. You know how bad the cops are getting really, cops are, ever since, that guy died, I forgot his name. But, the cops have been really getting, just saying. So, it was kind of funny, but kind of dicey at the same time. Then he says the King of New York isn't Biggie, or isn't Frank White. Frank White's from New York? I didn't know that. That's news to me. It's Bobby Lashley. Wow, okay, yeah, that's from Cheap Heat. So, the fans start booing, and then Tommy Dreamer comes out, Mr. ECW, and he tells MVP, though, we've been friends for a long time, and you're the most underrated talent in wrestling. No, that's Kevin Steen, you idiot. But I digress. He says he has MVP has a big mouth, and he's better than that. Then he calls Kenny King a sellout from Queens. That was pretty funny. Then he tells Lashley that he finally lived up to his potential. Back in WWE, he was only the ECW champion. Now he's become the most dominant champion in TNA or in any other company. Yeah, he won't be that in WWE, I'll tell you that right now. Then he says he sacrificed everything and put on great matches for the fans. I don't think so. I don't think Lashley's had a great match ever since he's been champion. That's just me. So he says he doesn't need to get the cheap heat with the fans. Then Kenny King attacks Dreamer from behind, sends him to the floor. And then MVP says, "Tommy Dreamer, that guy still exists? Really?" So Dreamer's like playing possum, then takes Kenny King down, takes him out on the outside, then grabs a kendo stick. And Angle then tells MVP to shut up. And he asks Lashley if he's the King of New York. Well, Dreamer disagrees. And then he announces a New York City street fight against Bobby Lashley coming up next. Yeah, New York City street fight. Hardcore, brother! So then he asks Lashley if he's a coward. And MVP's like, Lashley ain't a coward, he accepts, and then Lashley attacks Dreamer from behind. That starts the match, but I gave the segment 3.25 out of 5 stars. We get to the match. Wasn't anything great. It wasn't a good hardcore match. It was just a typical Lashley beatdown on Tommy Dreamer. But Dreamer got some offense in, hit Lashley in the head with a trash can, then he hit him with the kendo stick, and then Lashley comes back with a bell-to-belly on the ramp, ouch. Then he breaks the stick in half. Then he crotches him on the guardrail, that's typical of Tommy Dreamer, getting crotched on the guardrail, and then getting his lights knocked out. Then he drops the guardrail on Tommy Dreamer, that was sick. Knocks in a bear hug, Dreamer comes out, breaks out by biting him. He's a biter! We got a biter! But Lashley broke through. He looks for the spear as Kenny King, who was outside with MVP, held him on the ropes. But it backfired and Lashley hits Kenny King and he goes into the guardrail. Then Dreamer smashes a trash can into Lashley's head. Whew! That was a sick trash can shot. Then he hits a drop toe hold into the trash can into the corner. Then Dreamer gets the Dreamer DDT, but only got 2 for it. Then he gets another kendo stick on the outside, and he goes up top, trying to hit a top rope kendo stick shot, but he gets caught. Then Lashley hits a spear for the win. So Lashley continues his momentum and his dominance, and that was it. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. It was what it was. Alright, and I hear the ice cream man. No, just kidding. Then we see Madison Rayne in the back, getting ready for her number 1 contenders match for the Knockouts title with Taryn Terrell. And she's asked about it, and she says she's excited, but on the other hand, she's upset because of Taryn Terrell. Everywhere she goes, it's about Taryn Terrell and her comeback, and this and that. Then she says she's going to show Taryn what she's all about in their match. So, I like how, you know, they brought Madison Rayne back, and she was a face. Then they turned her heel, back to face, back to heel now. Looks like they're turning her heel again, but we'll see. So I gave it its usual knockouts 2 out of 5. Then we see Sam Shaw and Gunner in their hotel room, which was basically upstairs in the Manhattan Center. It was not in the hotel. What was I? Blah, blah. And we see Sam Shaw drawing the New York City skyline, and Gunner is pretty impressed with his drawing, and Sam Shaw's like, well, I used to draw stick figures. Okay. Then they start talking about Anderson, and Shaw's like, well, it's just water on the bridge, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. And then Gunner leaves to go get some food and asks Sam Shaw if he wants anything. Sam's like, no. And then we see an army jacket. I'm thinking it's Gunner's, but I think it was, well, I'll bring it up later. It's Chris Melendez, the new member of the roster, but I'll talk about that later. It was kind of creepy, and it gets worse after that. I'll tell you why later. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Then we get to match number 2, number 1 contender for the Knockouts title, Taryn Terrell against Madison Rayne. This match was okay. Beginning of the match, each woman, you know, tried to get the better of each other with some inside cradles and then a couple backslides for near falls. Then Taryn gains control with a monkey flip, 1980 monkey flip. But then Madison misses a charge in the corner, goes to the floor. Taryn missed the dive and she hit hard on the floor. Madison seemed like, oh my god, are you okay? No, she's not okay. What do you think? So anyway, she brings her back in, gets a near fall, hits a nice drop kick for a near fall. And it's really slow, very slow match. And then it picked up near the end. Taryn comes back, but Madison kicks her in the gut and gets 2 on a roll up. Then she hits a nice Northern Light suplex for 2.5. Then Taryn comes back, excuse me, blocks a suplex attempt, hits one of her own. But then Madison came back with a sick kick to the face for a near fall. Taryn comes back with a clothesline off the top rope, gains some momentum, and her clotheslines are so weak. I'm sorry. They're weak. Then she hits a weird-looking throwback. It looked like Madison almost broke her neck or something like that, because the referee was looking at her, and she looked really dazed. Then Taryn goes up top, hits a crossbody for another near fall. Like I said, the match starts picking up. Madison comes back, gets a boot up, as I think Taryn was trying for another move off the top. She goes for the pin, but her feet are on the ropes, and Brian Stifler has to admonish her. Then she starts arguing with him, and after that, Taryn Terrell hit a jumping RKO. Yeah, an RKO for the win. So, now, I hate to say, no, Taryn Terrell is a bad wrestler. She's not that bad. I mean, if we saw Slammiversary 2000 and I think it was 2013, where her and Gail Kim in the last Knockout Standing match, that was probably the greatest women's match in TNA that I've seen in the last God knows how long. That was probably a great match. It was it was just that good. So I gave it 2.25 out of 5 stars. So next week on the program will be Taryn Terrell against Gail Kim for the Knockouts title. That should be a good match. Let's see if Taryn can win her very first Knockouts title. I don't think it might happen, but we'll see. Alright, we go to the back. We see Bobby Roode walking near Kurt Angle's office, and the cameraman asks what he thinks Angle will say. Well, then Bobby Roode says that Angle called him into his office, and we'll just have to see what he says. So he knocks on the door, he goes in, and we see Eric Young in there. And they both talk, and Eric Young says whatever happens, they're still going to become friends. Well, still be friends, you know what I mean. Why can't we be friends? So then we see Kurt Angle come in, and he kicks the cameraman out because they want some privacy. They don't want to, spoil it. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, so we'll see what happens from there. Then we get a Bound for Glory promo shown. Yeah, 2 weeks too late, right? Yeah. So, about time they start hyping the pay-per-view. It's about 2 months away. So, same. Alright, then we go back to Sam Shaw and Gunner's hotel room. Well, their room. And we see Sam Shaw in army gear. And look, I think he's in Chris Melendez's army gear. Gunner's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And Sam Shaw's like this. I'm like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And Gunner's like, "Take that off, or I will take it off myself." So, I don't know where this is going. And I mentioned this before. I hate this whole Gunner, Sam Shaw thing, and I already said it before. I think Gunner's going to turn on Sam Shaw, and they're going to start a feud, and nobody's going to give a flying you-know-what about. I'm just saying. So I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I had it at 3, but I'm pushing it back to 2. Because it was just pointless. Alright, match number 3. Team Manic. I think it was Manic, Homicide, and DJZ taking on Team Loki, Crazy Steve, and Tigre Uno. This match was actually good, but if it was very fast-paced, so if you missed it, if you blinked, you missed it. You know what I mean? Crazy Steve started attacking Homicide, but DJZ came in, and they started going at it. Then Tigre Uno comes in, hits a nice kick salt. He kicked him and flipped back for just a 1 count. Then he hits a triple jump arm drag. That was pretty impressive. Then Manic comes in, hits an inverted angle slam. Yeah, it was an angle slam. He had him in the torch rack and they just dropped him, basically. Then DJZ takes out Tigre Uno, and he comes in and gets tagged to Homicide, who takes over on Tigre Uno. Hits a back elbow, gets a close fall, whoop-de-doo. And then Homicide and DJZ start teaming up on Tigre Uno, and it backfires as DJZ hit Homicide by accident. So Loki gets the hot tag, he takes out Manic, but Manic came back, locked in the Black Widow, or the Octopus, whatever you want to call it. Loki gets out, but Manic goes for Roderick Strong's finisher, or otherwise known, what was it called? I don't remember what it's called. You can call it the lumbar check that, what's his name? Caprice Coleman does. It's the same move. But Loki kicks him right in the face. That was pretty sick. He came down, his foot went boom. So, he looks for the key crusher, but Homicide stops it. Then Crazy Steve comes in, takes out Homicide on the outside with a dive. Tigre Uno then comes in, takes out DJZ. Manic tries for his double underhook finisher, but Tigre Uno reversed it into a suicide dive on the DJZ on the outside. Then Loki kicks the crap out of Manic, hits the Key Crusher for the win for his team. Very fast-paced match. That's what the exhibition is all about. And I liked it. It was pretty good. So I gave it 3.25 out of 5 stars. The fans loved it as well. So that's what he gets. Alright, then we go to the back. We see Bobby Roode and Eric Young come out of Kurt Angle's office. And Angle comes out as well. And the cameraman asks Angle what's the announcement, who's the number one contender. Angle says that they all talked and each man agrees that the decision was fair, and he's going to announce the decision in a little bit, and coming up next. But before that, we get a recap of EC3's attack on Rhino last week, and they start hyping the match coming up later, and it leads to a Rhino promo. He says money can't buy he says EC3 said that money can't buy happiness, but it leads to a ticket straight to hell. And he says what EC3 did to him last week, he's not going to ever forget. He still remembers it. And he says he's going to rip him in half with a gore! 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 So, we'll see what happens in that match. So I give it 3 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we go to Angle's decision. Bobby Roode is in the ring. And he talks about the six sides of steel cage match for the number one contender for Lashley's title match last week. He says at the end of it there was no clear-cut winner. Then he says he left Angle's office, and the only fair thing that they could do between Eric Young and Bobby Roode was to have another number one contender match next week. But it's not going to be a six sides of steel cage match. This time it's going to be one-on-one. It's going to be Bobby Roode taking on Eric Young. And I can't wait for that match. It's going to be great. So he calls Eric Young out. Eric Young comes out to a nice pop. And then Roode starts laughing. He says, "You're crazy, man." So, well, yeah, Eric Young is crazy. So the fans start chanting for EY. And then Bobby Roode tells them that they have a lot of history together. They mention teaming up in Team Canada, former World Tag Team Champions in Team Canada. Yes, in Team Canada. If you don't know, Google it. And YouTube it, too. He says that they battled together and against each other when Eric Young had the title, of course. He says last week was another battle that could have went either way, and both escaped, landed at the same time, and now they have to fight each other next week for a chance at the TNA title. He says he knows he has to be at his best. He's going to bring his A game if he wants a title shot, and says there's nobody that he respects in the business more than him, and it's an honor to fight Eric Young for a shot at the TNA title. Eric Young gets on the mic. He says he likes the respect that Bobby Roode is showing him. Well, I would too. Then he says people thought that he wouldn't be the TNA champion or even defend the belt against Roode. He says he was the people's champion, and it doesn't get better than that. Well, I guess so. He talks about the match last week, but it comes down to him versus Bobby Roode in New York City next week. Then he says he was always asked who's the better wrestler right now, and he says it's Bobby Roode. That's jury's out on that one. I think the best wrestler right now, I would say Kevin Steen, but, you know, that's just me. Big Steen mark I am. And Adam Cole, baby! But that's just me. Then he says Bobby Roode is the best in the world. No, that's CM Punk. That is his answer. That's going to be his answer as long as Bobby Roode's going to be in the business. Then he says he's better than Roode any day of the week. No. And he says he doesn't want to share the win with nobody but him. He says he's going to be even better than Bobby Roode next week. And then Bobby Roode says they will bring it for the fans next week, and they're going to tear the roof off the Grand Ballroom. I hope they do. I hope it's a good match. But a good segment overall. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we go to the back with a weird-ass segment with the Bromans and TJZ, and they're on the cell phones, and they're texting or doing something, and JB Jeremy Bohr ass comes in, like, what's going on? And then TJZ's like, well, this is our pregame ritual, you know, we're trying to see between Jesse and Robbie E who gets the most matches on Tinder. Fuck Tinder! I mean, come on. And he says he sees who gets the most patches or hits, blah, blah, blah. And then Jesse and Robbie both tie, and he says, well, that Robbie E got compared to a parrot and a bulldog, and then Jesse got a TNA knockout as one of his matches. Whoever it was, don't care. Probably was ODB. Oh wait, ODB left. I think I should be tired. Anyway, they all want to know who it is, but Jesse's like, I'm not going to tell you, and I'm going to take her out alone tonight. So it could either be Christy Hemme, Rebel, Gil Kim, maybe it's Jessica Havoc who's going to be on the show next week. I'll get to that in a second. Then Robbie says, well, Robbie, the Knockouts love Robbie E, bro. I'm like, what the fuck is this about? This segment was not needed. I'm sorry. It was just weird and corny. So I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. Alright. Then we get to match number 4, EC3 with Rockstar Spud taking on Rhino. This match was okay. Rhino started off strong, and they fight on the outside. EC3 gets sent into the guardrail, and then EC3 reverses an Irish Whip into the corner. Rhino hits hard, and then EC3 starts the beat down. Rhino makes a comeback, hits a Samoan drop, looks for the gore, but Rockstar Spud held his leg not once but twice, and EC3 then hit a shot to the nuts, but only gets 2.5. He misses a charge in the corner. Rhino hits a clothesline, then a belly-to-belly. He looks for the gore again, like I said, but again, Rockstar Spud held his leg. Then Rhino grabs Spud and punches him out. And this gave EC3 the time to get a chair and hits Rhino a bunch of times with chair shots in the back and in the stomach, causing a DQ, so Rhino wins by DQ. Match is up was okay. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Afterwards, you know, EC3 is still beating up on Rhino with the chair. And Spud comes in and tries to stop EC3 from inflicting more damage, but EC3 just continuing to beat Rhino's ass with a chair. So, you know, it's a new side of EC3. It's like its hardcore side, and, you know, Spud's like, you know, kind of concerned about it, maybe? I don't know, but he's like, you won? Okay, you won. So, that was it. That was what I said. Alright, then we get James Storm coming out, and he calls himself the Legend James Storm. Okay, he's been there for, what, since day one? 14 years? 13, 14 years? Well, I guess he is a legend. And he says he's the leader of a revolution, and he's gonna take guys that are, you know, not so well known, and he's gonna revamp them like he's doing with Sonata. Then he introduces the new look Sonata, the Great Sonata, as they call him. So he comes out in blue, new gear, which is all blue with a hood. I think he's AJ Styles, that is. So he takes off the hood, and he has black and yellow face paint, just like the Great Muta. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. I hate that song, by the way. And his hair is just like it's like the splitting image of the Great Muta. I'm not kidding you. It looked like Muta from like '88. Woo! I was like doing a double take. So we get to match number 5. Sonata's taking on Austin Aries, and I got a lot to say about this match near the end, but I'll get to that in a second. So we got a stalemate to start, and Aries starts beating up on Sonata, locks in the last chance, but Sonata got the ropes. And Aries is like painting into the crowd, you know, on the top rope while they just, you know, doing his usual shtick. Then James Storm gets all pissed off at Sonata, and he tells Sonata to bow! And Sonata's like, oh yes, James Storm-san, yeah, yes, we eat sushi later, yeah! So Sonata then starts to beat the crap out of Aries in the corner. He gets a couple of backbreakers, and he gets some near falls with that. And he keeps the pace. Aries comes back, smashes Sonata's head into the turnbuckles a couple of times. Then he hits a wicked neckbreaker on the ropes. Ow! Then he hits the under the first rope suicide dive to the outside. That was pretty nice. Hits a missile drop kick. He goes for the IED. If you don't know what the IED is, that's the running drop kick in the corner. That's what I think it is. It might be the rolling elbow, but I don't know. But Sonata gets the boots up. Aries hits the rolling elbow, then the IED. He goes for the brain buster, but Sonata bites Aries' finger. We got a biter! What's with these people and biting tonight? You know, just saying. Then he drops him on the turnbuckle, and they start, you know, puts him up on the turnbuckle, and they start fighting. Aries gets the better of the exchange, knocks Sonata off. Looks for I think he was going for the 450 or a double axe handle smash. James Storm got on the apron, caused a distraction, and which led to Sonata spitting the green mist, you know, in Aries' face. Aries is blinded. Sonata then rolls up Aries for the cheap win. I didn't like the finish. I thought he was gonna go for his finisher, but you know, it was a decent match. I gave 3.25 out of 5 stars. Afterwards, we see Sonata bowing to James Storm. So I'm kind of interested in this little Sonata James Storm thing. I want to see where it progresses. Now, there's a lot of people on the internet saying that Austin Aries got buried in this match. I tend to well, why did he get buried? Because he went to an ROH show. I think it was night 1 or night 2. I think it was Death Before Dishonor. He went to see his friends there. You know, Adam Cole, AJ was there. You know, catch up on you know, with the old friends. And I guess he got word back to TNA, and TNA's like, oh, I guess we gotta bury him. He's just going to see some friends. TNA and ROH had a talent exchange back then. You know, Daniels was in TNA doing the suicide gimmick. Then while he was in Ring of Honor as the TV champion. Didn't hear anything about that. You know, Suicide wasn't getting buried. He wasn't getting buried under the suicide gimmick when he was doing both. Jay Lethal did the same thing. He wasn't getting buried until the end. But Austin Aries losing, he's not getting buried. That's why all you marks, you know, all you marks you read Dave Meltzer's newsletter. Dave Meltzer is the biggest fucking liar on the internet and in the world of wrestling news. He's a fucking liar. His news and rumors are worse than Sean's views rumors. And fuck Sean's View Entertainment, by the way, and his 37,000 subscribers. Fuck him. You know that freaking seizure he had was fake. Because there's no way in God's green earth that you can have wires attached to your head one day, and then the next day, it's off. That's bullshit. You have to have it on at least a couple days. Bullshit. Just to get more subs, right, Sean? You fucking prick. But I digress. I'm not going to talk about that. So, like I said, they didn't bury Austin Aries. I don't think they're going to let him job out all the time. And if they do, it's stupid. Because Austin Aries, in my opinion, should be TNA World Champion by now. Just saying. Alright, then we see the Jessica Havoc promo. We get all the letters. So she's going to be appearing next week. And I'm not going to spoil it. But she's going to be involved in a match. Just going to say. Alright, then we get a vignette hyping up the new TNA signee Chris Melendez, Sergeant Chris Melendez, that is, who's an Army vet who lost his leg in the Iraq War, and he uses a prosthetic leg, meaning he's, what was his name, Zach Gowen 2.0, but, no, just saying, to get around, and he's trained to being a fresh wrestler, and they show him, training in Team 3D's Wrestling Academy. And then he's shown looking at his Purple Heart while standing in front of the TNA logo. And he's also shown working with other wounded veterans doing the Wounded Warrior program. So we go to the ring, and Kurt Angle and Team 3D are in the ring with Mr. Anderson. So Kurt Angle comes out. He introduces Chris Melendez to the crowd, who gets a big pop. You know, Melendez comes out wearing his military uniform as usual. Then Melendez hugs Team 3D. He shakes Angle's hand, and we get a massive USA chant. Angle says that he knows about sacrifice, but what he did pales in comparison to what Melendez did. Kurt Angle won the Olympic gold medal with a broken freaking neck! If you didn't know that by now. He says that Melendez fought and was willing to die for his country. Let me just see. Willing to die for his country, and thank you, Chris chant starts. Then he says that Melendez is a survivor and an amputee, and he's also now a member of the TNA family, so he's now on the roster, so he's going to be paid. Then Mr. Anderson gets on the mic. He says that being a former military man himself, yes he was, his favorite charity is the Wounded Warrior Project, and they are about 200 members strong, and all of them are in attendance. I didn't see them. He says that his buddy from Wounded Warrior called him a while back about a guy, and he's might kind of, using a different one, about a guy who was a wounded veteran who wanted to become a wrestler. And the guy sent Anderson videos of Chris Melendez, and he was pretty impressed with what he saw. So he says he was asked to train Melendez further, but he said that he didn't have a ring to do it. But he knew two guys that are the best trainers in the business, meaning Team 3D and the Wrestling Academy, so he hyped that up a little bit. And then Bully Ray says that after hearing Melendez's story, he realized that his two dreams in life were to serve on the front line with his country and to become a professional wrestler. He says that they trained Melendez for free and felt that after the sacrifices Melendez made for the country, it was the least they could do. Then Bully says he doesn't want to sound sappy, but he can tell everyone that this is one of the proudest moments of his and Devon's career. And then Devon's like, Devon gets the fans to welcome Chris Melendez to the TNA roster, so they raise his hands and the fans are cheering, Canton USA. So, it was a good segment. I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars, so we'll see what Chris Melendez brings to the table. Hopefully they don't go the Jesse Neal route. Remember Jesse Neal? They put him in Ink Inc. with Shannon Moore, and that went okay for a while. They gave him the tag team titles a couple times. Then he brought in, what was her name? I forget her name. I don't remember her name, but I think it was, I don't remember. But she's out of the company now. So we'll see what happens. So I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Alright, then we get to the main event, Tag Team Title Series match number 1. The Hardys taking on the Wolves, taking on Team 3D. This match was awesome. It was just awesome. Fast paced. Davey and Eddie were teaming back and forth on Bully Ray, getting tags in and out. Great technical tag team wrestling right there. Bully came back after a while. Devon went to go for the what's up headbutt, but Eddie comes in out of nowhere with a flying enziguri on the Devon. Then Davey uses his legs to roll Bully off for a near fall, and he hit an enziguri of his own, kind of missed him, but I'm just saying. Then Matt Hardy, or Fat Lardy, whatever you want to call him, punches Davey in the head, and then lays into Eddie as well, along with Jeff. Then the Hardys do poetry in motion on both guys. Then it got, then Bully Ray comes in, clotheslines Matt, and hits a big boot to Davey Richards. Then Bully whips Davey into the ropes, where he attempts to spring off him with a damage reflex, whatever that is. But Bully catches him in midair. I guess it was the kick or something like that. Bully catches him in midair and lifts him up into the 3D, which is a backwards 3D. And then Devon covers Davey, gets a near fall, and beats the crap out of him in the corner. Then Matt Hardy comes in. He starts beating up on Davey. Davey tried to, come back, but Matt comes back with a side effect. And the Hardys, are teaming up now. I'm gonna get to the end, but it was very back and forth. Lots of, they hit some dives onto the outside. Each man hitting dives. So we get near the match. The American Rules started coming back. Eddie dives off the top with a ghetto stomp to the back of Devon, followed by a ghetto stomp from Davey. So double stomps for a 2.5 count as Bully broke it up. Then Jeff shoves Bully to the floor and hits a slingshot dropkick through the ropes. Matt goes for the twist of fate in the ring on Davey, but he shoves Matt into the corner. Davey charges into a backdrop from Matt, but he lands on the apron, hits a leaping enziguri. Then he looks for a frog splash, but Matt moves out of the way. Davey lands on his feet, but rolled through. I'm losing my place. Then that leads into a twist of fate from Matt Hardy. Bully then pulls Matt to the floor, and Jeff dives off the top with a swanton bomb off Davey. Then Eddie hits a super kick onto Jeff. Then he rolls Devon up for another near fall, but he only gets 2. Eddie attempts to whip Devon into the ropes, but Devon reversed it into the 3D as Bully Ray came in, hit the 3D. They get the win, so they're up one match to nothing in the series. So with one more win, they become the new tag team champions. And I think the next match they get to pick the stipulation, which I'm thinking is going to be a tables match. But we'll see what happens. But the match itself was great. I loved it. Almost got 4 stars. Almost. But I gave it 3.75 out of 5 stars. It was great. Great to end the show with that. So we'll see what happens in the next match in the series. What the stipulation is going to be. Probably a tables match, like I said. Because Team 3D has the advantage in naming the stip. So we'll see what happens next week. So it's a good show from TNA. So we'll see what happens on the September 4th edition of TNA. Next Wednesday. September 3rd, excuse me. I said 4th by accident. September 3rd. Next Wednesday. Alright, so it's a good show. I gave it 7 out of 10 stars. What did you guys think of Impact last night? Leave me a comment, or you can do a video reply if you wish. Still send me questions for my Q&A number 10. You have until tomorrow at noon. So any questions you have about wrestling, TNA, WWE, Ring of Honor, you can put them down below, or you can message me on TheMetalGod669. I'll try to get to your questions as best I can. I only got 6 questions, so hopefully I'll get a couple more before tomorrow. And that's pretty much it for the night. So I'm gonna leave you for now. So leave me your thoughts and opinions on TNA last night, and we'll see where they go from here. So thank you all for watching this video. Have a great rest of your night. Happy Labor Day weekend to you all. Be safe. If you're having a barbecue, be safe. If you're going to the beach, be safe. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to have a nice weekend. I might have a barbecue on Sunday. Just chill the rest of the weekend because I need a rest from all this work. So thank you all for watching. Sorry this video is a little late as well as a Raw review. Work has been kicking my ass lately. So thankfully after tomorrow, get a nice 3-day weekend. Yes, because I need it. And I got a short week next week. So I only got a 4-day week next week, so that's good. So, we'll see what happens from there. So, thank you all for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button to death. Share this video all over the internet. And that's it. So, have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody. And I'm out. Peace.